is a lot right now. Are you feeling it? We all need new tools to help us walk through the chaos with grace, ease, and compassion for each other and for ourselves. In this podcast, you'll hear from parents, educators, and other experts who can bring perspective to the monumental job of parenting. It's time to level up and be warriors for our kids and our communities. This is the Warrior Parent Podcast. I'm Marci Mitchell.
And I'm Debbie DiManno. As parents, we understand that it really does take a village to raise our kids. We hope that this podcast serves to create and support that community for you. Join us as we discuss and practice our core tools, which are proven mind-body techniques that can be used by anyone to improve your life on a daily basis.
Hey, we just want to put out a little trigger warning for this episode. We're going to be talking about some challenging topics like, depression and suicidality, but also kids on the spectrum and sometimes the violence that can accompany that and how hard that can be for a parent. So just know that some deep topics are coming and take care of yourself. Thanks for listening. Welcome back to the Warrior Parent Podcast. We're so happy to have you here with us again. And today we are talking with Lainne Love, an award-winning spiritual psychology coach and best-selling author, leading-edge healer, founder and CEO of A Bigger Mission, and a very proud mama. She is captivated by self-mastery, driven by the knowingness that she was meant for more, and dedicated to actualizing her mission and leading others to do the same. Lainne is passionate about innovation and dedicated to people who are self-activated, taking action, and want to positively contribute to the evolution of humanity by leaving a legacy of love. Oh my God, do we love that? Welcome, Lainne.
No, it sounds so great, doesn't it?
It does. Well done, you.
Those are good words.
Yeah, we are excited to have someone that we're so in tune with and so in line with. I have to ask, Lainne, is Love like your real last name? Or?
No, it's not. It was a nickname.
Oh,
I've had several nicknames in my life, and they just they take over.
yeah.
And so that's what happened with this one. It was Lovely Lainne, and then it morphed into Lainne Love, and that became my social media handles. And then as you grow in business, you think about whether or not you want to change your social media handles. And I did not want to. And so I just took it on. That's it. Lainne Love it is.
Yes. Well,
always are happy for more love in the world.
Exactly. Spread love.
Yes.
Well, hopefully everyone's watching this on YouTube because you can see Lainne Love and there's like all this bright sunshine showing up on her face. She's just glowing there in Canada, right? So Lainne, I am super inspired by your story and I want to hear more. You talk about overcoming obstacles with your life and how you have overcome your lineage. So I'm curious about that story. So let's start there and give us a little background.
Yeah, it's a tough story because it was a tough thing to do. It's that mixing between what we think that we're supposed to do because we're family. And therefore I should accept whatever kind of behavior because we're family. And where do I draw boundaries and what do I accept in my life? And then what's my definition of family? And then also knowing that life is complicated and that that I love them regardless. And it's not about like good or bad people. It's just about what do I want to have in my life and what kind of people do I want to have in my life. And I really am interested in people that take responsibility for their lives and their actions. It's not about being perfect. It's not about never hurting anybody or making mistakes and, hurting somebody's feelings or that's going to happen. I'm going to disappoint you. I'm going to hurt your feelings. I'm going to do all of those things. But I'm going to be able to take responsibility for that. And
Yeah.
I'm going to invest in doing better so I can do that less, or hopefully not do it at all. But I don't think that that's a possible standard, at least not for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
That's
think just doing
amazing.
it less.
That's so brilliantly put. You know, we're all out there living our lives, and if you're not going to just stay super safe and never do anything, sometimes you're going to screw up, sometimes you're going to offend people, sometimes you're going to hurt feelings, but to be aware of it, to be willing to receive the feedback that, hey, that hurt my feelings, or that, you know, felt like this or whatever, and then to own that and say, you know, wow, I see, I didn't see it that way. I understand now. I'm sorry. You know, I'm going to try to do better. Like that feels like that would solve 80% of the conflict, or the maybe more, if we could just act that way as individuals, and then, you know, be great if we could act that way as nations too, but, you know, one step at a time, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, individuals, nations are made up of individuals. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's all we have to do is really on the individual level,
Yeah.
and start to make that the behavior that we accept and we practice. And so
Yeah.
that's exactly what it came to for me was there's a lot of broken people. You
Yeah.
know, I felt like I was a broken person, and it's okay. You know, that's another complicated thing because we're way more interesting as human beings than we allow ourselves credit for, or give ourselves like a minute to actually think about the complexity of what it means to be a human being, and
Mm-hmm.
that there's spiritual aspects and emotional and physical and mental and energetic, and then there's your lineage, your ancestry, your past parallel lives, all of these different your spiritual
Yeah.
dynamics. There are so many factors at play in our lives. And so I understand that people aren't good or bad. I'm not a good or bad person. I'm just interested in the things that I'm interested in, and investing my energy in those things. And so that was the story with my family was, from
Yeah.
my standpoint, they were more interested in not doing the work and a dialogue that wasn't in harmony with mine,
Mm-hmm.
accepting hurting each other and then letting it go because we're family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
so
I have to tell you, like, so I've just been through all of this. So I think I'm much older than you. And it's taken me a long time to get to that place in my life. But it was during COVID, when things were getting really, really, really awful. And I just at that point, and I'd been trying to do the work, that 30 years of therapy, trying to do this work consistently for 30 years to make it better, and then to realize that people on the other side are not willing to do some of that work and at least meet you part way, right? And that's outside of politics, that's out of family finances, that's out of all the stuff, but just like you said, just the complexity of being a human being. And I think, you know, what you said about creating boundaries, you know, I think there's lots of levels of creating boundaries. And I feel like I tried to do that over the years, but at some point, the boundary was a hard stop, like a hard stop in that I don't participate with you. My
yeah.
children will or won't. That's up to them, but I cannot anymore. And I feel like a new human being
Mhm.
as a result of that, right? Like, and that has allowed me and Marci to be able to have our voices here and to talk about the things that we love, which are exactly the things that you love, which are, you know, evolution and spirituality and all of those things. So so I'm right there with you. I
Yeah.
know
I'm
Marcy
proud of
said,
you. Yeah, it's
yeah,
hard. It's hard,
yeah,
but
Yeah.
it's
it
hard.
does feel so much better on the other side of it. It takes
Yeah.
a lot of courage to create, draw, and then maintain boundaries. Because sometimes that's the
Yes,
hardest part is the maintenance. You feel really inspired in the moment, and then
yes,
you have to follow through with it.
Yeah.
And that, so congratulations, that it definitely is a point in like your self-love and your evolution and your willingness to grow and create something new, create a new dialogue and a new lineage. And that's how
Yeah.
we do it, is we just
Yeah.
say, no, it's not, I don't love you. It's not, I think you're a crap human. It's just moving forward, I don't accept this, and you're either coming with me or you're not.
Yeah.
And that's a great way to live life also, is
Yeah.
not to be angry. And
Yes.
I can't say that I wasn't, because I was. I was
Sure. Of
very
course.
angry. I was very hurt. I was very sad. I was very all of those things. And it's taken years of work. As you said, you've been doing the work for 30 years. I've been doing the work for about 20. The therapy and all of that, and really deep diving in these past 10 years. And it's an everyday journey. And it's, I thought eventually that I could stop doing the work. Like, okay,
Yes.
it's been 5 years now or 6 years now. I should be good, right? Like I could take a break.
Yes.
And that's always surprising. I'm now in the space where I understand that no, it's actually never
Yeah.
done. Like there's
Yep.
always something. And I can accept that now, but I struggled a lot. I had a lot of frustration, like with what the heck? I've done so much work. Like how is this still this? Or how am I not this yet? Or why is this
Yeah.
not here yet? That frustration was a big part of the journey too.
Well, I think, what you speak to, and I don't think a lot of people understand this, is the lineage piece, right? So,
Mhm.
so this thing that you're trying to break away from comes from years and years and
Yeah.
years and years and tens of years and thousands of years of things that have probably happened in your family's lifetime, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so to think like, oh, like I'm done with that and whatever, it's no, like this stuff lives in our cells, right?
It
And so
does.
so the continuance of, for reasons of your health, for your own movement forward, and then for your children, right? And that's what
Yes.
I felt like for me, like this is where it stops. Like
Yes.
I will never participate in this on behalf of my children, right?
Yes.
When they're able to make a decision about how they want to manage that relationship, they can do that, but not through me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's the magic and the opportunity that comes with being a parent. And that's why things continue. That's why the cycle continues, as
Yep.
each generation is offered the opportunity.
I recently heard something that was so beautiful and wise from a very wise woman, but it was that, and she does a lot of trauma healing, collective trauma healing. But what she shared was that when you do heal that trauma for yourself, when you do break those, kind of break those patterns and heal that, you heal it backwards and you heal it forward. So you heal
Yes.
back to your ancestors and you heal forward for your descendants. And that's so powerful. That's so beautiful to do that good work, not just for yourself, but for your
It's
ancestors and your
for
descendants.
everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say 7 generations forwards and
Mhm.
7 generations backwards. You're
Yes.
clearing that imprint, and that's where it goes
Ooh.
into also remembering that we're more than just that, we're way more dynamic than we think about on a day-to-day basis. We
And
are
more
a
connected.
spirit, yeah,
Yeah.
inhabiting a body and having this experience, and that comes with so much beautiful complexity. And
Mhm.
that integrates and includes what we were just talking about in the lineage. Not only is it a physical thing that's a part of ourselves, and epigenetics gets into that, like why we express certain traits, or that has definitely to do with our socialization, but definitely our
Mm.
family dynamic. But it's
Yeah.
in there. It's scientifically proven. It's stored in there. It's spiritually, can we say spiritually proven? I don't know, but
Well, you can with us.
Yes.
Yeah, because we've
Spiritually
proven it to
known. How
ourselves
about
for
that?
sure.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
we have karma also.
Yeah.
And why do we choose to incarnate and be within this particular lineage? And I believe that I came here anyway to say yes, no more. I can be the one. I can be the one that says no more and clear that and heal that lineage so that moving forward and moving backwards, my family history, my dynamic, my lineage can be transmuted and healing can be brought to that. Because there's a lot of darkness
Yeah.
within that lineage,
Yeah.
and a lot of
So,
suffering and pain and suicide and mental illness and
yeah.
addiction, and that all gets to be healed.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell us about the things that you have done for your own healing. If people are listening thinking, oh my gosh, this sounds pretty close to home, and have no concept or idea of like, where would I begin to do this work? What would you say? What has been your process for healing?
Well, it's really exciting to be doing this now. And the good news is everything works. So there are so many different amazing modalities and practitioners and knowledge. Like there's so much access. How cool is that? So that's something to be celebrated. And then also celebrating that everything works. And the complication there is that, as we keep talking about and reminding people, is that we are dynamic beings. And so just like with any other aspect of our life, health is usually the best example. If I want to like lose weight, I have to consider, what do I have to consider? Moving my body, lifting weights, the food I'm eating, the water I'm drinking, the sleep I'm getting. There are a lot of things that go into that, and we understand that. It's the same thing when you're changing or shifting or healing emotionally, psychologically, energetically. There's all those different aspects in place. So you get to be doing different practices. So trauma memory gets stored in the body. You need to move your body. So some kind of healing practice that moves your body. And that can be walking. It doesn't have to be complicated.
Yeah.
I mean, there are really great modalities, trauma modalities that specifically focus on moving the body in a particular way to help release trauma. I mean, if you want to do that, awesome. If you can do that, great, even better. But even just walking, being in nature, we know these things, we hear them, and yet I think we sweep them aside. I know I did. So I could say that. I'm like, yes, I know it's important. Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
But no, do it.
Yeah.
But no, do it. Get the sunshine on your face, move your body, breathe. There's breath work, which we know. Also works really, really well. And you can work with a coach, or you can just breathe on your own. And excuse me, my phone is beeping. So that must be highlighting the breathwork part.
Yes. Yes.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
Yes, do the breath work. But it is true. I mean, there are, again, so many scientific studies and things that help to back that up for the people that find that to be an important piece. And then subconscious reprogramming. I guess if I was going to start anywhere, because I did all of these things, I meditated, I moved my body, I did therapy, I did energetic restructuring, I did acupuncture, I don't know how many things I've done, 30, 40, 50, a lot.
All the things.
All the things, but I think the most powerful place to start is your subconscious reprogramming. And why is because that is your whole life is run on that. So you can consciously decide, going back to that, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to get in shape. I've been wanting to do this. I say I'm going to do this, and it never works, but this is going to be the year I'm doing it. Well, right there, you have you have a lot of evidence right in front of you as to why you need to get at your subconscious reprogramming. So you can see, I've consciously chosen. I want to change this in my life. You've consciously taken the action steps of like signing up with a personal trainer or doing a gym or going for the walks or doing all of the things. And still it's not working, because what begins to happen is, oh, I rolled over my ankle, or I sprained my wrist, or now I always have meetings on the days that I was meant to meet my personal trainer. So that's your subconscious programming coming in to keep you where your programming is at. So, and that's where the frustration happens, is you think that you're doing all of these things, and you are, but you need to change the programming behind it. So that's why it can feel like you're getting nowhere. And that's actually why you do end up getting pretty much almost nowhere, is because you need to get at that first. And then all of the other things that you're going to do are going to have a greater effect, because you're going to allow them to do the work that you're trying to do with those particular modalities. So start there.
So do you do that with hypnosis? I see that you're
Yes.
a certified hypnosis, or what's the term?
Rapid transformational therapy practitioner. So with
Oh my goodness.
Marci Peer, the wonderful, talented, amazing Marci Peer. So within rapid transformational therapy, there's a lot of different modalities. She pulls from neurolinguistic programming, hypnotherapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, neuroscience. She integrates a lot of different techniques in that one therapy. But I love that therapy. But what I find, what I keep going back to, is a little bit of shortcuts. So shortcuts, it's simple to reprogram your subconscious mind. What's complicated is learning how to get to it. Or what seems complicated is learning how to get to it. So to take that moment, you have to start to notice and name, is what I always tell my clients. So it's like the first thing that we do when we work together is practice noticing and naming. So when you have to notice what it is that you're experiencing and feeling. So in that workout example, most people would just be like, I'm just frustrated, or it's not working, or wouldn't stop and think about, isn't this interesting? Every time I try to work out, every time I commit to myself that I'm going to do this, all these things come up. Wow, I'm starting to see a pattern here. Okay, great. I could start to look at that. So it's bringing your awareness to your life, and none of us are practicing awareness, really. We're not aware of how we're feeling. We're not really aware of the results. We're not aware of what we're thinking or we're doing. So if we can just start to become aware, you can start to then shift your programming. So then you also have to name your emotions, because if you can shift your emotions, then you can shift that programming. And that's how I like to work more and more with that. I find it the fastest results there.
Yeah.
Just going straight into
we
the
often
emotion.
say it all starts with awareness. All the change, all the transformation, all the ability to do better starts with that awareness of what is right now, what is happening. And then, I love that second piece of naming it, to where you're like, if you don't do that, if you don't stop and look at it and then say, here's what it is, then you can't take whatever that next step is. Whether, you might say, yep, that's what it is, and that's what I want, or that's what I accept. Or you might say, wow, that's not necessarily serving what I want. So maybe how can I let this go? Or what's the next step to what would I rather feel, instead of feeling frustrated or powerless? Well, I would like to feel empowered. And what does that look like? And it's just that one foot in front of the other, but it begins with the awareness that this is happening right now. This is what I'm feeling. And then you decide yes to this or no to this. And then what's next?
Exactly. And that's, so it's simple. It's actually
simple,
not
but not
really
easy.
complicated. It's simple, but it's not easy to then create that new habit and behavior, because again, then your subconscious programming and your is going to come up against you
Right.
because it doesn't want to, your ego is going to come up because it doesn't want things to change. And that's why it's really beneficial to work with somebody.
Yes.
Because they will hold you accountable, and they will
Yeah.
help you to see the things that you can't see.
Yeah,
And then once
help you to
you
see it.
learn those things, then
Mhm.
if you feel called to do the work on your own, I know what I always share with my clients is my job is for you not to need me. Like my job is to
Yes.
get you to the place I like your parent. Like my job is to make myself obsolete, is to
Yes.
teach you the things that you need to know so you can do them yourself.
Yeah.
So that you don't need me or anyone, but all in the same breath, like we do always need each other.
Yes.
In
Yes. But you can
various
still
ways.
be empowered
Yeah.
to do those basic things to keep yourself in a place of calm and centered and joy and the things that you want versus the things that you don't want.
Yeah, and you don't
They-
have to wait. You don't have to wait. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I can't do any of this work until next Tuesday at 7
Right.
p.m.
Till I
because
get the right
that's when
job
my
or lose the
appointment is.
weight or meet the
Yeah.
person or all those
Yeah.
paradigms that we set up that are also part of that not true about who we are, that we get to say, nope, that's not for me.
So Lainey, we talked a little bit earlier. So you are a single mom, and
Yeah.
you do mention that you're a proud mother of a neurodivergent son.
Yeah.
So, and you said you've done a lot of healing with him and
Mhm.
around him. So I'm wondering if you can share that a little bit and how that process has been for you.
Yeah, that always brings like tears to my eyes because in being a parent and being on this journey and in shifting patterns, I would be classified and called by the people that I know in my life as such a happy, easygoing, wonderful person. And I always was that. I'm so patient and, definitely not perfect, but a happy person.
They didn't call
And when
you
I,
Lainey Love for nothing.
yeah,
Yes.
the nickname was
Yeah, was
appropriate.
appropriate. Yeah.
Yeah, it was appropriate. And when I became a parent, I saw pieces of myself that I did not know, and I did not like, and I didn't recognize, and I didn't know where they came from. And I believe now that I am on the other side, there are a lot of dynamics in place when it came to my son. But I can take responsibility for my part. My energy was so frazzled. I was in such a chaotic state with the dissolution of my relationship with his father and with some things going on with my family. I was not in a good way. I was smiling through it. If you looked from the outside in, I would certainly seem fine, but there was an inner storm raging. And children are magical, sensitive beings, like we all are, but they really pick up on the subtle energy fields. And as parents, as mothers, for sure, we share energetic fields with our children until they're 7. And I greatly influenced his field, and I believe that I was responsible for the chaos that he was exhibiting, which then resulted in him having different set of diagnoses.
Wow.
And it wasn't until I really looked at myself, because when I'd get a call from the school, when I'd have to meet the doctor, when I would do all of those things, I would be in judgment. I was throwing judgment at my son. I was not accepting and loving him. I wasn't protecting him because I was in judgment, and I was agreeing with the other people and the things and being frustrated and short with his behavior. And it wasn't until he was in the special program that focused on emotional regulation, and that I was met with some of their techniques that I didn't agree with, that was restraining.
Mhm.
Initially, I thought it was for everybody's safety. And I could understand why that would be an option, because I had definitely been in some situations publicly with other children where I was afraid for them and afraid for my son and what the consequences would be. So knowing that that was a potential, I accepted that as an option, and I saw how that severely wounded him and wounded me. So I tried integrating that at home, and all it did was absolutely break my heart and fracture our relationship and breed more violence. And so when I really reflected on that, I knew that the answer was me and meeting him with love. And this is an experience of really understanding and experiencing the healing power of love and of taking responsibility. I'm the parent. It's my job. It's my job. How my child is showing up is my responsibility. What am I doing? How did I create this? And I was doing a lot of great things. I was a good parent, but I wasn't doing my best, because my best and my job is actually to meet my child with love. So when I started meeting him with love and noticing when I was feeling judgment or fear, I would replace that with just, I love you. I love you. And he would have outbursts where he would hit me and kick me and scream profanities at me. And I would just hold him and say, I love you. And it was hard. And it was hard.
Wow.
And then it wasn't. And then it wasn't hard, because I was in that space of love. And then he started to change. And then he started to trust me.
Wow.
And I started to trust him. And now I would say, well, he's had his best year ever this year. And
That's
Bravo.
we just
Bravo.
keep meeting each other from that space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
beautiful.
Wow, what a story. Okay, I'm trying to try not to cry right now, but that's such a powerful story. And I
Yes.
feel like Marci and I, that's, so much of why we do this this work is really, there's so much finger pointing at the generations, whether they're millennials or alphas or whatever. Everyone's like, oh, these kids, right? And we feel like we're the defenders. We're the defenders of the kids. And most of what I feel like the defense is about is the parents or the whoever's caretaking to self-reflect. Just please do the work and look at yourself, because these little beings are a direct result of yourself.
Yeah.
Right. And so just to be pointing fingers and looking outward at everyone else, and everyone else has caused this and the environment's caused this, blame everyone else, but not be able to do the inside job, as we'd like to say. Right.
Yeah.
But wow, like,
Yeah.
that's impressive. And you were not in an easy situation. This is not
Yeah.
your average kid who's just loving and right.
Yeah, that was one of the things where I was, feeling sorry for myself. Like, Jesus, like, what? My family is hard. My partnership is hard. Like, and now why does
Yeah.
everything have to be
When
so
do I get to
hard?
catch a
Why
break?
me? Like, why?
Yeah.
Where's
Yes.
my thing? But why not me? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
why
Well,
not? Like,
and we
this
know
is
that these
mine.
challenges really do show up to uplift us, to grow us, to bring us more joy than we could ever know. And I say that as a mother of a neurodivergent child as well. My son was not violent. So, I can't speak to that, and but I can certainly, boy, empathize with how difficult that must have been. But with the judgment, and I think so much of that Judgment comes from the systems that tell us here's what your kid should be like, here's what your kid should be doing, and then trying to put them into these boxes, and this is how they behave. And you know, if you might keep getting those calls, very familiar with those calls about so and so did this and so did that, and why did. And I always found that there were like these two different types of people, the ones who would kind of get the brilliance of my son and the you know, the magic, and then those who were just so in judgment of why isn't he like everyone else.
Yeah.
And then that can really bring fear into your heart as a parent, especially as a young parent, you know, because you don't know what you're doing. We're all just trying to figure it out. But if the experts are saying something's wrong with your kid, then there is that judgment of them, judgment of you. But when you can start to do what you did and turn some of that off, and then just, you know, show up as your best self with your love, and I don't know, that just turns it around. And I think that's so beautiful. And it's scary too, because in your mind also you're like, am I preparing them for the world? You know, we get this message that you got to prepare them for the world, you got to toughen them up, you got to this, that, you got to make them fit. And that's turns out that's not true. You know?
That's not true. And there is,
Yeah.
sure, there's consequences and there's boundaries and all of that, but that
Right,
can still
right.
be coming with love. And I can like really look at myself. And I did find that disappointing in the whole journey of, you know, different appointments and different specialists. I
Yeah.
found the questions that they asked for the most part were really limited. They didn't include physical activity and diet, or
Mm.
even the conversation of love
Yeah.
into
Yes.
any
Right.
of the, any in, into any of those really important conversations. It was automatically like, here's a prescription. And
Yeah.
I people can feel however they want to feel about that, but I just don't think that it's the first step, or the second, you know, or the
Yeah.
even the third.
Agreed.
There are so many other steps in between where we are now and that as being a possible solution. But it was the first one, and because I didn't choose that one, I was met with a lot of judgment too.
Of course.
Yeah, so that's where I felt most judgment was, yes, everybody trying to tell me that what I needed to do was just put him on drugs. And
Mm,
I didn't really see that as the solution. And thank
mm,
goodness thank goodness I took responsibility for the situation and myself, as a parent is
mhm.
supposed to, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
As we should. I'm the
Yeah.
parent. This is my
Yeah.
responsibility and my job. So what do I need to be doing differently? And of
Yeah.
course, we are all our own humans, and we all have our unique personalities and our also our individual karma when we're coming in. But my job as the parent is pretty clear to me anyways, that
Yeah.
I'm responsible.
Wow. 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 Like
Yeah.
I could talk to you all day, but I just want to say congratulations on rewriting your story
Yeah.
and creating a new legacy for you and your son. That is truly a beautiful story. And I'm so happy we were able to have this conversation with you today.
Yes.
Thank you. I hope it's
So
helpful to somebody, to anybody.
oh,
Oh, I know it will be.
Yeah.
I
for
know it will
sure.
be. Yes.
For sure. Well, I know you've written a book. Is that true?
Yeah, I
Can
have
we?
2 books. Oh
Oh my
my God.
goodness.
It
We
only
have
took me 15 years.
we have to share, and I'm gonna read for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
tell us
Yeah,
Share the
about your
title. Tell people where they can get them, and also your other places where they can find out more or book a session or, you know, contact you.
yes. Please go to lainne.com. I got so lucky. I got my name as a website. So it's
Nice.
LAINNE.com. And you can book a half an hour free call. I have that for podcast
Mm.
listeners. They can get a book a call. So that's great, because the most
okay.
valuable thing I have to give is my time. And that's the most valuable thing that you have too. So we can exchange time together, and hopefully I can provide you some kind of insight and
Beautiful.
give you the support that you're looking for, and potentially we can work together. And you can find me on Instagram at Lainne Love. And my books are How to Use Hypnosis to Master Your Brain. And the one that just came out is A Bigger Mission, and I'm so proud of it. It is co-created by 12 people together. So
Wow.
11 other authors and me, and we all shared a story of trauma and how we overcame that. So what it took from us to overcome that. So everybody had a very, very, dynamic, interesting lives, and it's from people from all over the globe. So I love this book. We've gotten such good reviews on it. It was a bestseller in multiple different categories, and you can find that on Amazon, and that's A Bigger Mission.
A Bigger Mission.
Excellent.
A Bigger
Wonderful.
Mission. Well, I'm on a mission to get the book right now. So
Thank you, Lainne. It's been great to chat with you.
Yes,
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
And now for a moment about meditation and how it can help you and your family to self-regulate and mindfully return to a place of calm and centeredness. Our Cour Tools platform consists of a number of proven tools and techniques that are designed to reduce stress, anxiety, and overwhelm in spite of what's going on in your world. Meditation is just one of these powerful tools. And through a special partnership with Donna Appadoni, we have created a group of meditations available only on our platform and via Donna's own website. Here's Donna.
I do not know the meaning of the word deserve. From a place of cruelty, people say, he deserved that. From a place of fear and lack and defensiveness, they say, I don't deserve this. Deserve. The word is filled with judgment of myself and other people. Hi, I'm Donna Appadoni, and I'm the person who writes and produces the meditations that are used by Cour Experience. I have to laugh when people say, oh, he deserved that, or when they say, I don't deserve that. How do we know what somebody deserves? How do we really know what somebody deserves? It's a bit more judgmental than most of us really want to be most of the time. This meditation explores and defines the word deserve so that you can understand it a little bit better. And it reminds us all to see the good in everyone, not to be interested in judging them. Remember, wherever you are right now, you can do anything you set your mind to do. I see value. I hear potential. I accept who they are. They do not deserve less. I do not deserve more. We are perfect as we are.
Donna's book, called Drive Time Meditations, is a collection of 183 of her purpose-driven motivators. Drive Time Meditations is available on Amazon.
Thank you for listening to the Warrior Parent Podcast. You can find us at courexperience.org. Make sure you join us next week for another informative conversation to help you and your family show up mindfully, purposefully, and joyfully with each other and in your community.
Our meditation segment is produced by Donna Appadone with music from Scott Holmes. The full collection of meditations is in Donna's book, Drive Time Meditations, available on Amazon and at donnaappadone.com. Thanks to Samuel Hale, LLC, for sponsoring this podcast. Technical and marketing support comes from Inspire Your Brand. Our podcast editor is Justin Beeden. Opinions expressed by guests do not necessarily reflect those of the hosts, producers, or financial supporters. I'm Debbie DiManno.
And I'm Marci Mitchell. The Warrior Parent Podcast is a production of Cour Experience. If you resonate with the idea of creating a community to help support kids and families, won't you join us by following the podcast and sharing this episode? You can even write a review. It truly does take a village, and we appreciate you.